Hello. Hello.
Yes, madam.
Okay, yes. Good evening, madam. Good evening, madam. Good evening, madam. ম্যাডাম জয়েন করেছেন জয়েন করেছেন
তপতি ম্যাডাম জয়েন করেছেন?
হ্যাঁ ম্যাডাম।
হ্যাঁ,
ইয়েস ম্যাম।
ওকে ওকে।
গুড আফটারনুন ম্যাম।
গুড আফটারনুন। গুড
স্বাগত
আফটারনুন।
বলছি। হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ।
Thank you very much for joining.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon. All are well, I hope.
ম্যাডাম আমরা শুরু করতে পারি?
Yes, good afternoon to all of you.
গুড ইভিনিং রাদার। সো আজকে আমাদের দ্বিতীয় দিন, আমাদের লেকচার সিরিজ যেটা শুরু হয়েছে ইস্ট ক্যালকাটা গার্লস কলেজ অর্গানাইজ করেছে। তো আজকে আমাদের মধ্যে আছে ডক্টর তপতি ব্যানার্জি। সো আমি প্রথমেই ডাকবো আমাদের প্রিন্সিপাল ম্যাডাম শ্রদ্ধেয় শ্রী ডক্টর শুক্লা হাজরা ম্যাডামকে কিছু বলবার জন্য আমাদের এই লেকচার সিরিজটা আজকের জন্য শুরু করা। ম্যাডাম প্লিজ।
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I first welcome all participants, my colleagues from East Calcutta Girls College and other teachers from different colleges, universities, and also I am saying that members from NATMO and our special guest today, Director NATMO, Dr. Tapati Banerjee, my students, and also other participants. We started our lecture series yesterday, and yesterday was actually Environment Day, 5th June. And this day, from that day, we start the lecture series on different aspects of environment. We are fortunate enough that Dr. Tapati Banerjee, Director of National Atlas and Thematic Mapping Organization, agrees to deliver a lecture on the recent phenomena. We know about the climate change, we know about the global warming, and also as a inhabitants of the tropical region, we know that we are suffering from cyclones, especially the coastal regions. These are the vulnerable now, and in the populous country, high population density, there are many people who are living in the coastal region, and they are maintaining livelihood depending on the sea and the coastal land use, coastal landforms. So now it is a challenge, big challenge for us actually make aware about the climate change. Not only that, arrange the safety measures for different safety arrangement for those people who are vulnerable in these extreme climatic conditions. And we know about the National Disaster Management Act. Under that, National Disaster Response Force (NDRF), they act on these events. Since we have seen in Ayla in 2009, we have seen in Amphan 2020, and Ayas also. And also glacial outbursts in 2021 in Uttarakhand, and in different conditions. So they are doing this is an important part now. People are doing under the National Disaster Management Association under the central government, and we are fortunate enough that this time National Atlas and Thematic Mapping Organization under the leadership of the director, Dr. Tapati Banerjee, they did a lot of arrangement with NDRF. So we are fortunate to have a glimpse on that. So I must welcome all members and employees of NATMO and the group and the leader, Dr. Tapati Banerjee. I welcome all participants. I request that all participants to enjoy this lecture. Thank you all. Thanks.
থ্যাংক ইউ ম্যাডাম, থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ। ওনার অনুপ্রেরণাতেই আমাদের এত লেকচার সিরিজগুলো এগুলো হচ্ছে। আমরা তাতে খুব খুশি, এবং শুধু খুশি না, আমাদের স্টুডেন্টরা খুব বেনিফিটেড হচ্ছেন ম্যাডামের গাইডেন্সে, এটা আমরা করতে পারছি বলে। সো আজকে সরাসরি আমরা লেকচারে চলে যাই। ডক্টর তপতি ব্যানার্জি, she needs little introduction to our the outside world, but for our students, arekbar kore bole dicchi onar introduction ta. She is the director of National Atlas and Thematic Mapping Organization since 2016. It is quite a privilege to have her here because she is the first woman director of NATMO since its inception in 1956. She has acquired her post-graduation and graduation from the University of Calcutta. During her career, she was awarded with Vidyasagar College Centenary Scholarship, Vidyasagar Centenary Medal, and National Scholarship. Her professional journey started in 1993 as the scientist in Indian Council of Agricultural Research. She has also taken up various projects. She has also worked in various projects. She has 5 research projects where she was the principal investigator. Then she has number of papers which have been acclaimed in both international and national journals. She has number of technical reports, book chapters, and also an atlas to her credit. She is a significant name in the field of cartography, remote sensing and GIS, soil science, resource planning, and natural resource management. So we welcome her for a speech today. Madam, over to you, please.
Good evening to all who are present over here, students, research scholars from East Calcutta Girls College, and the staff members, my beloved members of NATMO, who are present over here. First of all, I congratulate Dr. Shukla Hajra, principal, and her team members, of course, principal of East Calcutta Girls College for this lecture series she has arranged for, and I convey my thanks to all of them for inviting me and making me a part of this lecture series. And just before starting my presentation, I just want to start with a short glimpse with a video clip. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Madam, sound is too low.
I'm sharing this one. Next
Okay.
one.
May I interrupt, ma'am? Once. I request all participants to keep their audio and video muted, please.
Actually, it is not coming. I don't know what happened.
Anisha, it was working in the afternoon, Anisha.
Madam.
Oh, that is working, I think.
Should I click on this?
ম্যাম আপনি জাস্ট নিচে গিয়ে ভিডিওটাতে ক্লিক করুন।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Full screen. Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Now, is it visible?
Yes, madam. Perfectly,
you,
ma'am.
thank you. Changing the screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Everything is okay.
thank you so much. So, friends, you have seen that a short video clipping in the recent event of cyclonic storm, Yash. And we know we have evidenced this event of Yash few days back. And in the last year also, the same event and more severe cyclonic storm in comparison to this Yash, Amphan, we have evidenced also. If we see the history of, we'll find that this type of events, which usually happen once in a decade, like Ayla, it was in 2009, and afterwards Amphan, that was in 2020. Especially if we cite the example of the West Bengal coast. And now scientists, they are predicting that this type of event will be more frequent in near future. And we know disaster that needs preparedness to prevent the huge loss of life and property. Today, I will discuss with that how geospatial mapping and other technologies that help during that time of events, and especially what we did for during the time of Yash with NDRF. Before that, starting that one, I just want to go back a little before. During the month of May, I received one phone call from colonel of National Disaster Response Force. He contacted me for the map of West Bengal and Sikkim, especially the coastal districts of West Bengal. And after detailed discussion with my team members, we agreed to provide them the map of coastal district to start with South 24 Parganas of West Bengal, as it is, and all we know that this is the most vulnerable district of West Bengal. Afterwards, Colonel suddenly he sent a message on 18th with the forecasting letter of IMD, Indian Meteorological Department. He sent me that notice, the circular that was circulated by IMD, and immediately asked for that. We need that immediately, that map of South 24 Parganas. Then we started working on word footing basis and worked up to 9:30 at night, and we provided that map to NDRF on 21st May. And in between, after seeing the maps, he requested us to give some more input that I will discuss later on, some more input on the base information, base elevation information, that also we had included in that map. And on 21st, 22nd more at 12 noon, he sent a request message that we need the map of Purba Medinipur, West Bengal, because as you have seen that from that clip, that actual landfall that was nobody was able to predict actually, and that sudden shift of that path, that immediate requirement for Purba Medinipur district, it made them emergency for that map. Immediately, my nodal officer of this project, she arranged everything, overcoming all hurdles, and we provide them the map within 24th. That we have provided them the map around 10 p.m. So my team worked in this way and handed over the map with all information, whatever they asked for. This is the total mechanism during the years. We have supplied, we worked with NDRF team. So in this discussion, I will discuss how the map works and what the total mechanism works. When we talk of disaster management, basically, there are two systems work. It may be divided in the disaster management cycle, may be divided into two parts. One is that before event and after event, two major crucial stage, I should say. And that before event, that is the preparation. That is what we call is that preparedness to mitigate that and the mitigation stage, to mitigate as far as possible, and to prepare the authority for that themselves with that system. And that after event, that is the response and the recovery system to provide the relief and other things. So it works in that system. And actual anticipated emergencies which are required, that has to be prepared, that actually activates or triggers the prompt action, the preparedness. This actually works in the evacuation process and the issuance of alert from time to time, and also to go with that changing system of forecasting. So these are the very crucial stage while working with that system. Then how the map it works. Actually, map plays a very major role, because during the time of extreme event, all we know, no internet, no mobile, nothing, no electronic gadgets actually works. And only that hard copy system that always, when we worked with that NDMA, when we planned with the NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority, for the action plan, they also requested us to prepare the map, but which is the urgency, where the urgency requires. that we are not aware of. We in that sense, true sense, we didn't start with that work. Now with the NDRF, we started the work. We have given all the information to them, and that specific of information we have developed for them. And these are the all information at a nutshell. I will explain later. And why it is required. It is basically required to start the rescue operation, and also it requires for the relief operation also. Because first, when that forecast comes, the areas usually it is identified, and that most important is that to have the connectivity information and to overcome all the hardship in the extreme weather conditions like this type of disaster, especially in there where that other media connectivity doesn't work, do not work over there. And even some of the areas, what we have seen that areas were submerged underwater, and there was no reference to show the direction to reach the target. So knowledge of location and the connectivity between that the disaster area, that evacuation center, that hospital, food dropping point, all the information are these are all most important for that relief or rescue operators like NDRF and others. So what are the information they need most? Suppose in this event, we have seen that during that time before that landfalls, NDRF officers, major, they came to us for the map in our office, and during that time, while discussing with them before this Yash event, they were in first their visit in that South Chব্বিশ Pargana as well as in the East Purbo Medinipur. They came to Nabanno for that meeting, emergency meeting, and while going back, they came to our office. While we were very much busy in preparing the Purbo Medinipur map, and that time they are discussing that this group who were working over that NDRF people who were working in South Chব্বিশ Pargana and Purbo Medinipur area, before reaching there, they were in that West Coast for the relief operation, and that after that completion of that operation, they came over here to help us. So what is mostly important, that helipad points at that airdropping points that are most important for them, included that already shelters, some evacuation centers are also already existing there. The existing infrastructure, including that educational institution, that are mostly important, because this huge building that mostly are used for that evacuation shelter. And the hospitals, police stations, and the electrical substation, water storage center or water pumping station they require. And that settlements, of course, with all name and information they require, and the connectivity, that is a major connectivity, that all road information they need. They don't need that the very small road information, the major roads they require. So with this information, they given that requisition, we need all these information to we refer all this information in our information system. In the map also. So with this, we provided all this information to NDRF within a day of 3. That they were very happy, and they sent the message that information was very much helpful. And likewise, this map looks like, and with this reference point that help that information to the NDRF, that this is the map we have provided to them. And what are actually how it works, that I just want to explain you. You see, some of the indications are there for the helipad center that is there, and some the major settlement area are there, a river, connectivity of canal, water, river, drainage system, and that road. Of course, road is the most important information over here. Then the information on hospital, PS, police station, educational institutions, and other rescue centers which are already available, that is given, and all information at this very small area has been enlarged. So how it works. When the national NDRF or National Disaster Response Force, they come, what they do, they find out the position where they drop. Then NDRF team, they reach with their group over here, and they, which is the priority area where they have to reach. So they identify the area where they will have to reach, and they distribute their group in different locations, and they send their group and distribute their people in different groups. Suppose this area is submerged, they are not able to reach over there, then what they do, they find out the alternate, because that time no mobile work, usually it functions. So they find the possible, they use the only utility map, that is the hard copy map that they use. So they send that next possible route, they find out the next possible route with the help of map, they send their people, and this way they overcome all challenges to work. Sometimes what happens, suppose they have sent their groups in 3 to 4 places, suppose in one priority area that work is over, they have evacuated or they have rescued some people, but they need some other area where the rescue operation more people are required. Then with the help of the map, they find that which group, the nearest possible group, they find out, they send the people to that area, select the people, and they inform them to reach over there. So this way, that total mechanism, it works. So what NATMO actually understands about this disaster? Actually, what we, as far as our knowledge concerned, this is basically everybody will agree with this, and this is an overall system. This is a set of process which is designed to implement before the disaster, during the disaster, and after the disaster, to prevent as well as to mitigate the effects of disaster. So every time we should work in collaboration and in a interoperability manner, which is the basic foundation for the effective management with all information system, efficient information system. We work for the disaster management, effective disaster management system. So how this management system, information system, it works? Usually that whatever the information we are having, we provide all in data in that, it input all data in the process, and with this, under this mechanism, we provide some input, output, and with that information or with the feedback from the active forces, from the working group, we update the information, we update that total system, and we send that information to for management decision, or to the for what people who the team who are working on this. So utility of that GIS, that for disaster management. Now what way we work, we developed a network system where we provide all the information as input, and under this process we give the output, and this is under this procedure we reach to the people who are working as well as to the local group also. So in this system, disaster management system, what NATMO understands, that is, first of all, in the GIS, how GIS works. Actually, for basically for disaster management, the first, all we know at the preliminary stage, we need to, when we get the warning for a particular area or prediction comes from the specific department, that is IMD, when they issue the circulars on forecasting or the early warning, then scenario analysis, scenario identification we used to do, and we prepare for that total, as per the warning system, we prepare that map for that area, like that resource inventory of that predicting area. Then all logistic planning to evacuation for relief operation, whatever is required, we plan for that to develop that particular operation. Then the process of evacuation planning is we develop, and we make a mechanism for evacuation planning, and that communication, that is the most important. Communication planning is required as per this, following that need assessment. Then it goes for that recovery and that rehabilitation, because for these we require the spatial planning, and for that infrastructure development, identification of infrastructure for that, especially for the housing or the building infrastructure, and that livelihood that stages of the operation, that is most important. And we require the prevention and mitigation. For that, scientific hazard analysis the scientists, they used to do simulation modeling, vulnerability analysis, risk assessment and mapping, stock assessment, that comes under that prevention and the mitigation system. Then comes that relief operation, that search and rescue the area, removal of that after event, removal and of wastage and debris, that is most important. Then delivery or for food relief materials to the that affected people, and that likewise the priority actions are planned. And this is that according to this response of considering the central mechanism, it works under that GIS system. It basically it works like this. So in this process, while working this in different processing, because sometimes one, if you prepare preparedness or the plan for a particular vulnerability, it may not work. And for each and every work, we need to use different materials for different type of work. So these are some of the resources why we uses for developing the maps or the GIS system, and that in the disaster management processes. And NACMO always acknowledges all this information from where we are receiving for the preparation of the disaster management plan, along with the different forces who are working with us. Already, as I told you, that already National Disaster Management Authority, they have entrusted us to work on this line. So we have already started that work. And when we work, sometimes what happens, and in the meantime, I just want to convey you that we are working for that NDRF. We have started the working for West Bengal, Sikkim, and in the next stage, that 9th Battalion of NDRF, they have also requested us to work for Bihar and Jharkhand. As you know, every year the flood of Bihar, that is devastation is going on almost every year. So they need our map. And we have arranged developing a system to use our geoportal, to give the access to them, our geoportal. So we are developing that offline and online system. And under this online system, they will have the access in our geoportal. And because sometimes what happens, when we prepare map, we provide all information. Likewise, if you see this one, when we are presenting the real world in the 2D maps. And what we do, we give all information, layer-wise information. As a geographer, you all know, layer-wise information we provide. Suppose station locations, points of that evacuation center or shelter, routing of that communication system in another layer, then critical infrastructure in another layer, then allocation of resources, and that risk and hazard area, then incident analysis. So all layers are we are providing information in layer-wise information we are providing. So sometimes what they require, after that any work, sometimes it may happen they don't need the particular layer. So they can off that layer to highlight the other layers, because to avoid any jumbleness. So layer-wise information according to their choice. That option is there. So we are giving them access to that NDRF to in our geo portal. Even what we are doing, we are providing a system, the offline system in their premises, and there they can work in the offline system also. They will have the access both offline and online system. And in this respect, I just want to inform you that they need the map, hard copy map they use. At the same time, they need, we provide them that soft copy also in GeoPDF and GeoTIFF format, because they have the, being a defense team, they have the access of a special satellite where they can have the access to, if they use that GeoTIFF map, that all location and analysis they can do, and they can mark on that map. So we provide them the soft copy also. So usually, in the traditional system, what was there in the disaster management system? Actually, time critical information, it was used as an aid for disaster management, for monitoring and analysis, to assess the damage and to find out the which area which are damaged. Damage situation used to usually ways to that time that preparedness was not so much of importance. So disaster area, disaster heat areas used to identify, and how much loss were there, that used to assessed by that authority. Now, in this process, GIS and remote sensing, it helps in the predicting that urban flood area or that hazard zonation using the SAR data and other GIS information, and managing that comprehensive land use inventory and the land slide zonation. This type of information we wish to identify. And at the same time, different models were developed or used for integration, for learning the disaster phase and the post-disaster phase, and then action plan development and risk reduction system. That was the traditional system that was there. And afterwards, now the modern system. This modern system, they have developed now worldwide. This system has developed. One is that it is grouped under 4 major categories. That is planning and mitigation, preparedness, and response and recovery system. Under this planning and mitigation, when they identify that these are the vulnerable zones, already planning, now everybody is very much aware, including the government, is taking various steps for that preparedness, and that response and recovery system has been modernized. So in the disaster management cycle, this is the process. Now it works very nicely. So not only India, all over India, this system, it works for planning as well as for mitigation of the system. And in Indonesia, they have developed this disaster prone index. Using the disaster prone index, they have identified that area which are more vulnerable and less vulnerable area. And they have, so accordingly, they have prioritized their area all over the country. They have developed this system. Similarly, if you see, they have now developing the real-time analysis they are doing, and preparedness they have developed at the time of actual emergency, this work, and as well as in that emergency in the early warning system, how they are monitoring. So this way, other countries, they are also doing, they are analyzing that volcanic eruption of affected area that has been, but that the rescue team will work and a medical support requires. This is the modern system. Now it works. This is the situation that damage analysis identification, that is the area of Java, how they are working. These all are very vulnerable area. So they need the quick allocation for recovery work. So in this total process, GIS, it works, act as a system integrator for the total solution. That is risk assessment, problem area identification first of all, then establishment of linkages they develop, and the strategic formulation they develop for that affected for that problem area or prioritized area. They sometimes what is to do, they develop that testing method and develop model testing method, and implementation process is going on, and that gap, identify the gap areas, and if they find any gap, they try to solve the total system. So this is the actual system that may be refined for time to time, and sometimes this depends on the location. This is very much location oriented. So accordingly, it is redefined. So further that through GIS, what we can explore. So in which are the first that priority zonation is required. That is, which is the area where we need the more strength. That is the most important. And which is the area which is cut off from the other neighboring towns or other neighboring areas. That is most important to identify. Then which hospital that may provide the more medical assistance, where the support system are very actively working. That is the requirement analysis that is required. And which are the areas may be flooded, the next area, which is the more emergency area, where in this case that yes, that we have evidenced that next 24 hours or next 48, which are the emergent areas to be affected in the next few hours. Then who are the teams are in action, responsible team, they are in action for that particular area. And what are the phone numbers? The active members' phone numbers are most important. Local PS number and the villagers, their number are also important. That are to be that act as a information system, and which roads are damaged and which roads they have to follow. So these are all information that are most important while working with. So GIS system that develops stage by stage, that follow-up system are developed through GIS. So worldwide, some strategic goals are already started developing since 1989, and first during 1999, International Decade for Natural Disaster Reduction that was developed, and during 1994, Yokohama Strategy and Plans of Action was developed, and 1999 there was the International Strategy for Disaster Reduction was there. During 2000 there was Millennium Development Goals were there, and 2005 there was the Hyogo Framework for Action 2005 to 15 it was there, and afterwards now that Sendai Framework, we had whole world they are working on the disaster risk reduction following the Sendai Framework. It was planned and it will work up to 2030. So this way global strategy changes from time to time, considering the situation, considering the vulnerability. So in this process, we have seen, and that yesterday, Dr. Pashish Pal, he was just delivering lecture in that coastal ecosystem, and there also we came to know that ICZM, they are working under ICZM management plan where government is developing, and here the most important is that community-based disaster risk management program must be developed, because in this process the risk communities are identified, and for their treatment, monitoring and evaluation of disaster risk to reduce their vulnerabilities and enhance, because local stakeholders who are at risk, participation from their side, that is most important. That is bottom-up approach. That is the key impact in the participatory involvement of the local community. Unless and until planners, they plan, scientists, they plan, they are planning, that is a top to bottom approach. They are planning for a particular area, visiting that site once or twice or thrice. But actual scenario, only the local people, they can communicate what they are facing during this risk time. So top to bottom to top again, this type of approach must be there. That should be the actual involvement of the local people is most important for the successful implementation and the direct participation of the people in the planning process, in the decision making process, and that operational activities at all level of responsibility. And how it works. While working with this, Indonesia, they have involved that students community, because they are the most prominent the group who can work, who can take the responsibility for their safety in the time of emergency and disaster. So in that, students, they are working the Tsunami Resource Center. This is a very tsunami prone area. They, in the disaster management planning, the involvement of that students, and they play a major role in that system. Similarly, in the Maldives, local people, they work in that disaster management plan. But see, and then Myanmar, if you see the case of Myanmar in the cyclone prone area, so here also that in that everybody, every stakeholders, that policymakers, and everybody is engaged in this planning process for the reconstruction process. Even in Japan, if you see, Japan is the most flood prone area, most vulnerable area. So every community, they develop such a nice system that all the villagers or stakeholders, they themselves have developed the awareness among them. So how this work? This group of work, they decide and that they discuss for the preparedness among the participation of the community, and they prepare the anti-disaster plan, anti-disaster map. That is a rescue operation. They work. They prepare the similar reference what we have done. The different reference points are there, which are required at the time of emergency. They plan for that. And in their map, even if we see the case of, this is the case of Odisha and how they work. And even in our situation, during our discussion with the NDRF major, the NDRF group, they were saying even our villagers, they are not willing to evacuate. Sometimes they force on the people for the evacuation system. So this type of, but in case of Japan, the community development has done in such a nicely. When that forecast comes, they prepare themselves with the, they shifted themselves to the evacuation center. They have planned evacuation center in a very nice manner, that the first evacuation center, second evacuation center, they shifted in that area. So this is done in that Odisha, where that community people are involved in this process, and how it actually works. And that total GIS system, as I told you earlier, that it works, GIS, it works as a system integrator, where that information where 4 systems are there: InfoWare, OrgaWare, and TechnoWare, and HumanWare. In this InfoWare, that is total information system are developed. That includes the society, community space, vulnerable area, socio-economic and cultural information, on all demographic information. And within this, and here the organization, in the organization system, all the organization, including the government, non-government, small group of small club, everybody is involved in this system. And here with this information, then technology it works, which help which involve the human, that to identify the vulnerable population group, to identify the socio-economic group, and to identify the potential volunteer, and to make or to establish a self-sufficient mechanism in the total management plan. So this way, in this 4 system, this work in the geo-information infrastructure. And with this, how it works, in the total system, these are brought under that GIS database. And this under this GIS system, as all we know, it captures, stores, updates, and analysis for the visualization of the system, where the administrators, policymakers, planners, researchers, or the development teams and local people, these information are usually go to all. And if any feedback or rectification comes, then it goes to the storage and update information. Again, it goes back to that people who are working in this system. And this actually, I was mentioning about Professor Ashish Pal, his discussion. There we have seen in one photograph that that highest group, the scientists, the planners, they are there. But where is that the community people? Where is the local stakeholders who can share their problem, who can share their risk areas? So here you will find in some of the information we are getting that from the news that somewhere that especially if we think that same plan, it will be applicable for that Medinipur coast, and same plan may be applicable to the Sundarban coast. If we consider this, I think that plan will never work. That separate plan should be, it is very much localized. So considering the local situation, that plan should be different. So the local involvement of the local people is most important. In the NCZM plan, I have seen no local people, involvement of local people. Their problem, I don't know whether they have listened that problem of the local people. I think they may. So the involvement of local people is most important. And there, whatever the possibilities that are there, that is, we should know each and every points from the local stakeholders. So it will help to build a social capital to extend the help and bonding with the community. And this preparedness, it will in that activities will be designed considering the nature of the community group, and they will work, the assigned task will be given to different groups at the time of disaster. If we prepare ourselves in a proper manner, then immediately that group will come to know what will be their work, what is their operational work at that time of extreme event. So a transparent interaction, that is most important, that needs to be developed in the different group community who are involved in the total system, that administrators, decision makers to local people. So 5 major problems are to be addressed. That is insufficient attention to the nature in the risk reduction process, inadequate community resilience, ignoring social capital, bad training planning, and inappropriate organization in the distress management and ecocentrism. And how that dashboard has been developed by Odisha government and the total system, they have developed nice dashboard in the system using the GII, Geographic Information Infrastructure. And total main map, it shows that event along with that history of the event that state, and with that community who are involved and what are the information, all information are assigned over here. So this is the user interface where the involvement of common people, decision makers are there, total information flow is there, and the scientific community is there. Under this total system it works. And how it works, here in one part, information where is there, information is there, and the humanware is working over here with the help of organoware, and technoware is working over here. So these 4 systems, it's a total infrastructure, it will work in the structured formation. So the most important recommendation that NATMO promotes, that involvement of the community as a part of humanware in the total geographic infrastructural information infrastructure, and identify rationalizing the program, the identification of the pros and cons of all the system is most important, and there should be a very good communication link that needs to be developed, established to the authority as well as to the local people. And there should be a web portal, offline, online system must be there to connect the people, to connect the scientific communities, as well as to connect the government. And to get, because if we encourage the local people, I think we'll get more return from their side. And always these people, they will actively involved because their livelihood, their life are involved in the total system. So NATMO looks forward for that vulnerability in the total system process. NATMO looks forward for the vulnerability and the risk assessment and identification of the socio-cultural vulnerable area and the hazard map preparation, designing and developing, and total interaction real-time scenario dashboard analysis must be developed in order to assist the decision makers, and of course the operative mobile application data dissemination as a part of the preparedness must be there, required to develop, so that it work very nicely to communicate all the people. And first of all, yesterday also I was discussing with during our interactive session that awareness program is most important. During my last visit in Andaman, I have seen how they are after the tsunami, how the Andaman people, they are developing their system for the development in order to save their island, and they don't allow anyone to put any garbage anywhere in any part of the island. That specific areas must be there, should be used for that as a garbage center, or they are protecting their mangrove in such a nicely manner, which is very much lacking in case of Medinipur coast in the Mandarmani area, in case of Sundarban area. So there are that suggestions for developing this mangrove forest. That today in one paper there was an article on this vulnerability and cyclonic event, that the first event that was happened in 1737, how much it was affected, and from that time onward that suggestions came for the developing of mangrove forest. But instead of developing the system, we are destructing the system. So I think community people must be they are the stakeholder. They should be awareness program must be there to educate them to protect their island. So key initiatives we have to take to include the community as a part of humanware in the geographic information infrastructure, to assist the community in the total system of technology, and identify the pros and cons, to rationalize the program, and to create a knowledge base to inform the disaster management authority about the local setup. Sitting in the town, sitting in the capital in Calcutta or in Delhi, and developing a plan, it never work. It won't work. So the local setup must be there for the total system. And the connectivity, in all type of connectivity is required to share the idea, to share the knowledge to the people and the scientific group, for that ensuring that there everybody's participation and input. So with this, I thank you all, and with a better tomorrow, because if we together work, I think it will help us for a better with this, I thank you all.
Thank you, madam. It was a wonderful experience. Like, we were really mesmerized because we come to know that the future of RSGIS is no more future; it's the present now. And the so many applications we get to see that we would read when we were students, that this we could do this, we could do that, and now we are actually doing that. So, like the crisis map, and you also talked about how the disaster risk reduction and NDRM are working with the NATMO to develop better maps and better equipments and the information system, so that we could really be prepared for such disasters. Thank you so much. And you also mentioned a very interesting thing about the top, bottom, top approach, which is very new and very important to us. And it was very good to know that even students could be included in such programs. Of course, locals are the integral part of any program, but when students, they feel the responsibility because they are the future, so they will be more interested in learning these things. Thank you so much, madam. We have, I think, a few questions. It is open for discussion, so any questions are welcome. There's one question from Shukonna Basu. Maps for risk assessment are provided by various organizations as heterogeneous geographic databases. How can we classify the accurate and make the crisis management easy? Ma'am, if you could comment on it.
Repeat, please.
Yes, ma'am. Maps for risk assessment are provided by various organizations as heterogeneous geographic database. How can we classify the accuracy and make crisis management easy? Like she must be saying about integration of different institutions of data.
Actually, to be very honest, that always NATMO, whatever the data we use, always we use the authenticate data from government sources. We hardly use that local unless we work in the field. We always use the government data, and whatever that information or whatever the different sources, data from different sources are used for developing map, that is sporadically it is developing, not for a whole district, not for the whole India. That systematic work is not in progress, I should say. So I think NATMO just started sporadic work, and about the authenticity, I don't have any idea because I'm not involved in this the sporadic mapping. So whatever the information, what we are developing now for the future as a future mapping with for the NDRF, they have promised us because they need very customized information in that mapping system. So under this COVID situation, if that COVID situation is over, they have promised us that because whatever the information we are providing them, that is totally authenticated and that GPS enabled sources. Whatever the information we are putting in the map, we used to do the field work. So NDRF team, they are working with us. They will go with us, with their team, and our team will go to the field. We verify that information, locational information. We will put that information in our map. That I can say. Other sources, what they are doing in a different way, different patch areas, I am not aware of all these things. To be very true, very honestly, I should say, these are maybe they are developing as a part of the research work from different organization, but actual map is not available right now.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Hope Shukonna gets her answer. We have another question from Dr. Devdeep Bhattacharya. He's saying that, madam, during these days of pandemic, students are not getting maps and can't use the NATMO library. Is there any option right now to get the online maps from NATMO, especially the DPMS and other maps?
Actually, presently we are not, because of this pandemic situation, we are little back foot. I should say we are in the back foot. Our now, if you send any requirement, our maps, especially in the NATMO maps, that will be that are all everything is uploaded in the NATMO Enterprise Geo portal, and if you send that option, we will allow you to download the map for your work, and that is free of cost, or maybe some few charges may be applicable over there. Very soon I am trying to develop that system. Within a very short period of time, 2 or 3 months, it will be developed and everybody will have the access, because there is a system of that money transaction that takes time, because we need permission from the authority, so we are waiting for that. Otherwise, you can see, but in the time of downloading option, we are developing very soon. Within a month of 2 or 3, we will provide this information, and that will be everybody will have the access of those maps.
Thank you so much. It would be a great help.
Not only that, you will get all the information that the WFS service, WMS service also we are providing from now onwards. But the recent maps that is also will be available. Layer-wise information will also be available. So we are providing that information to all also.
Thank you so much. Madam, there was another query from one of our students. Yes, ma'am.
Just I am asking Dr.
Yes.
Banerjee that for authentication, I have seen that you are working with the satellite images like Iconos, Moody's, and other IRS and AVHR. There are list which you are using. So there is, I think, you have a good rapport, the interrelation between the different organizations for working and for authentications which are asking for, and you are getting, I think that more detailed data from 1 meter resolutions and all that for preparedness, for getting the exact location. So these days NATMO, I think they are working on more and more preparedness of this type of and the approach which is bottom up, that is very important for this type of disaster management, because inclusion of the local people, inclusion of I have seen that many colleges are used as the center for the disaster management, NDRF people and all that. So this time, what our teacher Anisha, Dr. Anisha Haldar, she mentioned that the students also get at the bottom part, and they also will be the most important part at the bottom level for collecting the data and for verifying the data of the satellite images. So, and this is a very good work of NATMO, that you are preparing layer by layer data analysis. That is the processing of data, not only the data processing, and it will help in our students, our country, and also it is very good thing. So more the expansion of such work, and you also mentioned about the work of Dr. Ashish Pal, who is working a lot. So this is the most important thing. The students will go there at the field, and they will feel the situation, and what is the situation, what will go back inside the land, and what will be the measures. This time we will do from in this situation, in this pandemic situation, we are using these satellites mainly, but ground data is most important thing which you mentioned. So your suggestions, your work, and your total planning for this is very good, very useful for all of us. And the most important, Dr. Devti Bhattacharya mentioned about the maps, the availability of the maps.
And
online.
that will be available. Very soon, we were making an arrangement for downloading the maps, because the ministry, they have also informed us that everything should be available in that website, and the downloading facility must be there. We are making arrangement for there, because that is freely downloadable option we can give. But on the other way, at the end of the year, that on the, one way, actually, we are being a government organization, we are facing a lot of problems. Like one way, they say that you allow the students to download the map in the free of cost. And the end of the year, that audit department, they will ask that how much revenue we have generated. So under this contradictory situation, we are facing a lot. So we are developing, that is almost where the very least cost we are developing. We are not charging more. So we are developing that system that requires time. So very soon we are developing that system. We allow all to download that map.
Low cost will be good for students also, not free of cost.
Already it is a very low cost. I think for a DPM,
it will be very good for all over West Bengal as well as India if they get the maps online.
Okay, that system will be.
Any part from West Bengal or outside West Bengal, Bihar, you are asking, you are mentioning about Bihar and other parts also. So students may get data easily, or maps or process data or authentication from your end. Students will get online. It will be easier for
Actually, what we are planning, because I know very well that the manpower in NATMO is very less. So we are trying to collaborate with that students, that university and colleges, to involve the students for collecting the information. Suppose a student is staying in, he or she is basically from a particular district, like for example, if you think that about Medinipur, Purba Medinipur or Paschim Medinipur, if we involve the students of those areas, the information will collect, we will go with them, and we will that information will be authenticated using our high cost GPS, and as well as the that NDRF people, we will take them if requires. So I think that authentication, what we do, authentication will be done if it from that data from field level, and that other attribute data what we get, we always use either that field data or that government data. We never use any private data. So we will include as an attribute all the government data. So I think involvement of the students is most important. I am planning in the next step. I am planning that now the social media, these are very actively working. So when we will start working on a particular district, we will ask for any student community to involve in that district planning for the detailed planning like this for working with that special group. So involvement of the students, I think we are planning. So both ways will be benefited.
Yes,
so we are planning
you can arrange training for the students, and also you can monitor the work of the students from your office when the students are in the field. So this is
in the field, when they will in the field, they will be in the field. Our people will be there, because GPS information that along with the students, our people will be there for that field work.
This will be very good. This will be very good for our country as well, I think.
Thank you, Principal Madam, for your observations. I think we have Dr. Shagota Chatterjee. She wants to give us.
Yes.
Please.
Yes. With Director Madam's kind permission, I want to share something that, first of all, I would like to mention that whatever Team NATMO could deliver the needed service in the most needed time of Yash had been possible due to our Director Madam's constant support and motivation to complete the South Chobbish Parganas map and East Midnapur district in the quickest possible time. When we have seen the vulnerability and extent of Yash over TV, NATMO became more determined to put all our effort to contribute NDRM and their service provider NDRF and SDRF to contribute our lead role to the service of the nation on the platform of geospatial technology. Thank you of sharing about what could be done as per nation's demand regarding disaster and hazard management and mitigation program in near future. Thank you all. Thank you, ma'am.
So it was a challenging job to do that within short time. So that's a very good work. That's a very good work. Yeah, Aisha, teamwork was very good for we to complete within a short time.
Very short period of time.
Very short period. Yeah, you mentioned the date of telephonic communication. So the time was very short.
And they appreciated our work because it was very helpful for them. Not only that, if you allow me, I can share one photograph they have shared with us, and the artist. Just allow me to share one thing. Just a minute.
Yes. Anisha.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Just a minute. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
This is the photograph they have shared with me. Our salutation to NDRF team and other rescue team. They have shared it. This is the one artist they have prepared for NATMO. I think everybody has seen this for picture in that news media. And one artist he has prepared. He has drawn it and shared in the social media. And NDRF team, they shared with us, they are searching for this photograph painter to honor him as they have done for the work. And so I request, if anybody knows the painter of this picture, please share his name to me so that I can share that information to NDRF team to honor that painter who have worked for them.
Very good with the Krishna in a stormy weather. Little Krishna is very good.
Yes, ma'am. Very meaningful.
Very touchy.
Very catchy, yeah.
Thank you, madam. Do we have any more
Yeah,
queries or discussion?
Yeah, Panchali is there for, I think.
Yes. Okay, so we go on to our next session. Next vote of thanks by head of the department, Dr. Panchali Majumdar.
Very good evening, madam. Thanks a lot to you, ma'am. Every time when we hear your lecture, we are very much enriched. And madam, this time you have opened up a new arena for us that particularly after independence, when the community development program starts, the major initiative was to make a participatory management so that the common people, particularly the majority of the people they resides in the rural areas, they can be a part of the whole system. And your endeavor has shown us that in every respect, you, with the administration, with the local people, and for us, for our people who are engaged in study of geography, we are very much benefited by this total participatory management work regarding this vulnerable situation. And madam, your effort will encourage us to so that our students, our future generation who will host the flag of the nation in future, so that they can be also a part of it. And the availability of the maps will help them to get more information for their research work as well as for their higher studies. And madam, in this session also, I think our research scholars, our teachers, our postgraduate students, and also our undergraduate students who are now pursuing their undergraduate studies, but they will be interested to see that how it can be managed, and this holistic approach will lead them in future that they can also be a part of this whole program. Thank you, madam. Previously, we also have seen that your interest in such a sort of work, like when it was in the case of income map quiz, spreading the knowledge of map among the school students. And madam, we are very proud about braille map, so that each and every corner of the society you and your organization have tried to touch. And madam, today we are very proud to have you with us. And in the vote of thanks, it's a formal vote of thanks. I pay my regards to Dr. Taputi Banerjee, Honorable Director, National Atlas and Thematic Mapping Organization, and all the members present here on behalf of National Atlas and Thematic Mapping Organization, and our research scholars, our collaborative institutions. We have collaboration with many colleges in recent years, and I think most of them are present in this lecture series, and we are very much thankful to them also. And at last, I would like to thank our principal madam, without whose encouragement we can't proceed a little bit, because madam is always with us in case of, and we are working together always with a National Atlas and Thematic Mapping Organization. It's our privilege that we have Dr. Shukla Hajra and Dr. Taputi Banerjee madam with us, so that our students, our students who are the who will carry on the research studies in future, they can also be enrich themselves, and they can be encouraged to do such sort of work in future times, because this is a very vulnerable situation. In one hand, it is the pandemic is going on, and on the other, there are natural disasters like Amphan and Josh. And we geographers, we academicians, we can guide our students so that in future we can build a strong nation in a more holistic way. Thank you. Thanks to all of you. On behalf of IQAC, I would like to thank all our faculty members who are present in these lecture series, and all our non-teaching staff who are giving their every effort so that we can run the institution in a very proper way. So thanks to all of you. And at last, a very good night. Thanks to our departmental teachers, to Dr. Anisha Haldar, who has totally doing everything for today's lecture, and every faculty members, our laboratory staffs, departmental laboratory staffs, and the Department of Geography. I think in future will carry on this sort of lecture series that will provide the students the necessary information for doing more research work in future. Thank you, madam. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
আজকে আমরা এখানেই শেষ করছি। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Thank you.
ম্যাডাম, প্রিন্সিপাল ম্যাডাম, আমরা কি শেষ করবো ম্যাডাম?
হ্যাঁ, থ্যাংক ইউ।